Welcome to Polemics with Mr. Shaft on AF Television. It is important we get viewers acquainted with some information on Polemics. Polemics is an interactive platform for rubbing minds on critical and topical issues that cut across wide spectrum and matters. It is a platform where tough issues are discussed, weighty matters are diagnosed, analyzed, and synthesized, and hardwired questions are posed. Polemics is a platform designed and devised to enable viewers and participants contribute constructive ideas, knowledge, perspectives, and views to critical issues of the moment. On this platform, we do not permit the use of any indecent, inelegant, or parliamentary language and expressions. We cherish and place high premium on polished manner and style of communicating in making any contributions to any aspects of the subjects or issues on the platform's agenda. These are the rules of engagement on the platform. Polemics with Mr. Shaft. We expect viewers and participants to observe these rules accordingly. We'll be right back shortly. Welcome back. Today we are privileged to have a distinguished gentleman in the studio and on the platform as special guest, Dr. Sonny Madoka DSN.
Yeah, thank you, Sharp. I think that's still substituting.
Thank you
I
very
remember
much,
those days, the name is always very, we're a little bit, when we were kids, we were a little bit looking at that name, and then we see the person live, and it's awesome. Still moving forward. Thank you very much.
Dr. Madoka is a distinguished and accomplished administrator and consummate technocrat. Among other things, he's a management consultant, chartered certified accountant, and auditor. Prolific writer, regular contributor to national issues and debates on many other platforms, public affairs analyst, and in his own right, a media personality. Dr. Madoka is a man of many parts and wears many caps comfortably. He is versatile. Nice to have you on the platform, Dr. Madoka.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. My pleasure.
You say hello to our viewers.
Viewers, how are you? This is a new month. Let's appreciate God for a new month. We're wishing everyone a wonderful new month. And from now, let's see that your trajectory and who you're going to be is going to be accelerated by God alone. So you're welcome, and just stay tuned. We're going to give you the best of what you need. Thank you.
It's now time to square up with today's main business. Abia State, 30 years down the line, following the creation on August 1991. Abia State is the generic subject and theme of our discussion and focus this afternoon. We'll be looking at Abia State holistically from many perspectives. As a grown-up state, though it is widely speculated, Abia still exhibits and manifests symptoms, characteristics, and features of a baby state. It is critically important to highlight one outstanding point. We are not in any way discussing any specific individual or group of individuals exclusively, but Abia State holistically in all ramifications, including political issues and other relevant and strategic aspects. This clarification becomes necessary matters of misperception or misperceptions and misconceptions any person may have. Essentially, these are the highlights that will shape and guide our discussion. Dr. Monica.
So,
according to sampled public opinion, majority of respondents are of the view that Abia State is fittingly qualified to be classified as a failed state in terms of ineffective governance compared to some other peer states. Dr. Monica, do you subscribe to this opinion or school of thought?
Abia State, just like any other state created by fiat or decree, is an illegitimate child. Let me put it that way. Abia State has never been created by a normal constitutional activity. So when you look at it from that perspective, you discover that what is happening is a fundamental issue. When you have an illegitimate child, what do you think is going to be the outcome of whatever that person is going to do? So that's why I brought that tsunamis. But looking at it from another angle, in the context of what we're going to discuss, let me ask you a question. Who is Abia State? Abia State is the people, not the name. So when you talk about Abia State, you talk about the people. So Abia State cannot be separated from the people. And who are the people? Two basic people that we're looking at. You're looking at the leaderships, and you're looking at the people. So who brought about the whatever you call the failed state? It's the people. In what context? It's the people that give birth to their leadership. So when you're giving the preamble, and you're talking about leadership and governance, you can't separate the people from governance or leadership. So whatever you sow is what you're doing, what you're reaping. It's a very sad story to talk about Abia without talking about the people. Let me give you an instance. Dubai and Abu Dhabi, they are two separate states, but under the same governance system. None of them is separated from developing. Each of them is developing at their own pace. Now you look at Abia State. We've started from 1999. The leadership we got in 1999 started on a wrong footing. Even all of us were aware of it. The same person come for second term, and we still plan on it, and we will keep shouting. Let me give this analogy. Abia State is like a people who is being raped, and in that raping spree, you're shouting, but meanwhile you're opening your legs, and you're shouting meanwhile you're opening your legs. At the end of it, after the raping, the same person come back again to your house and say, I want to rape you again. You start shouting, and that person rape you again. So, Abia State have been that recycling governance system that is being propelled by the people. If the people can understand that they have a right to ask questions about how they are being governed, they won't be talking about miss or failed state. Failed state is not a vacuum. Failed state is because people allow it to be a failed state. Because as of today, I know a lot of people have been saying something to me, and they said the reason why people cannot talk or express their mind is because the constitution we have gave all the leadership acronyms to the leadership. For instance, if a governor build a bridge for you in your local government, please appreciate that governor. And I know that's why we drum and we come out to drum, because in the constitution, there's nowhere the governor is mandated to build a bridge for you or where you were asked to ask for accountability from the governor. So the whole scenario in Nigeria is not about only Abia State. It is something that packaged us together, and that was that brought about illegitimate.
Yeah, let me come in here.
Yeah.
Talking about illegitimacy, Abia State is not an exception. Some other states, because the question is, in comparison with some other, so you can see, relatively, some other states that were created with Abia State who also share the same
birthright.
Yeah, birthright or illegitimate birthright.
Yeah.
Some have, in the context of the leadership they've had over the time up to now, seem to have made some reasonable progress. So, in the context of Abia State, irrespective of the circumstances that gave birth to the state, do you share this opinion that Abia State is a failed state in the context of governance and the leadership who have, that have been running their affairs? Because if you look at some neighboring states, they seem to have made some
progress.
Yes. So can you address that that issue specifically?
Let me talk about. I said something about the people.
Yes, you did.
For instance, we have leaders, we have chiefs, we have even some of our technocrats that have retired, they are here now. If you go to Abia State Vault, you want to audit the account of Abia State, you will discover that probably 50% of what is budgeted is being filtered to political talks. Chiefs, or you call them chiefs, that is the big wigs in the state. How do you want governance to work? You see, that's why when you compare it to Lagos State, people have been shouting about what is being given to the past governors. There is a mental alertness. People are watching, and Lagos State is a little bit open. You can Google and see how much they are generating, how much is being expended. You don't have that here. This place is an enclosure. I've been here for the past 2 weeks. I've been trying to nose around, to see what I'm going to get. But you see, everything is enclosed.
Let me come in.
Yeah.
The argument you are driving or positing is that when you pose the question, who is the state? And you went on to say the state is the people.
It's the people.
So you are saying that what is happening in Abia State is the responsibility of the people. They have, jettisoned their responsibilities.
Exactly.
They've refused to ask questions. They decided to be docile. They decided to be, unconsigned, and that's why things are the way they are.
That is it.
So we are holding the people
responsible.
Acutely
responsible.
So
because
we Abians are responsible.
That is it. That is just it. Let me give you an answer. If
not just whoever has been given the privilege or the opportunity to serve the state.
It is the society that brings about their leaders.
Okay.
So if tomorrow now there's an adjustment in our constitution, and they say, the governor should take 3 terms.
Okay,
just
term.
I'm coming. Do you know that some people will still go back to vote even those people have read it?
Just in one phrase.
Yes.
Are you of this view, or you do not buy into it? Just let's have your what's your verdict? The opinion people have canvassed that the state is eminently qualified. And I ask, are you in tune with this opinion, or do you have a contrary view?
I have 100%. I believe
you endorse it. You endorse it.
But I don't want people to believe that this governance failure is only going to be on the doorstep of
it's not part of the responsibility.
They are part of this failure. So let's put it like that. That's the context I'm bringing. Let's not just push it to the government. No. We are part of. Look at this scenario.
If the state failed, all of us failed.
We failed.
Thank you.
Because we still bring them back to rape, like I use that analogy.
Yes.
So what are you doing? We have great men in Abia State. I've had opportunity to talk to some of them. And I said, what are we doing? The issue is that everybody wants to be on his own. Okay. Nobody wants to come out to say, look, this is not right.
So let's go ahead.
Yeah. So that is the reason why, you see, failure of government is not failure of the leaders. It is the failure of the people.
Okay, this is more like more of a follow-up question.
Okay.
It says, what do you consider personally or perceive as the greatest challenge facing Abia State in respect of effective leadership and governance, specifically in the context of the reintroduction of the so-called democratic system of governance? So what do you can you extrapolate using hindsight to tell us what you think is the core challenge facing us in leadership? In leadership, because I believe, and most people believe, most people I've interviewed, most people I've come across as respondents in my research, who always maintain, if you can get the leadership right, because it's the leaders who will be able to motivate, they are the ones who show the road.
I understand.
So, but if the people, so for any person to assume this responsibility of leadership, he owes his people something. So what do you really think is a core challenge, and how can we fix this mess?
When you talk about leadership, it's a big course. It's a big, we cannot finish it there.
Yes, we can.
So leadership, yeah, I agree with you. It's like the roadmap.
Yeah.
It's like the compass.
Yes.
It's like you are there and people are following you.
Pointing the way.
Okay, and when I'm teaching leadership, I draw arrow.
Okay.
The number one.
Yes.
That arrow is shooting at you.
Yeah.
So if you don't lead right, you get pierced by that arrow. So what does that entail? It means that we, the people, that's what I'm saying. How do we look at people that have vision?
Leadership mentality.
That is it. But as of today, I'm telling you, it has not been. And one of the reasons I used to give that, because when 1999 came up, and after the June 12 and every other thing, the people that are interested in visionary leadership thought that, this one will work. So majority of people that I see now as leaders are people refer as people who are not, in quote, leaders. They are people who took risk. And it's only in business you take risk. And when you take risk in business, what do you want? Is profit. So most of them didn't come with the mentality of imparting the people. They come with the mentality of, we're investing our money in this risky business. In 1999, if it worked, okay. If it didn't work, okay. And when it worked, they become profitable. So people are suffering it. Until we reoriented our minds and understand, look, this is not about an individual. It's about the state. It's a goal site. When I was in Abia, it was something that I couldn't fathom. That even in this 21st century, it doesn't mean that Mbakwe's period is better. But there's this idea they said, may my tomorrow not be better than mine. May my yesterday not be better than my tomorrow. Yes. It is always our prayer. But I'm seeing a scenario now where you can now refer, to yesterday is more glaring, open, beneficial to people than what we have today. Abia is an eyesore. Look at your capital. I was telling somebody something. Yeah, no, I was telling somebody something. Let me just finish it out.
We get to that.
Okay.
So, so what you are saying effectively that the challenge is a systemic challenge. So, nobody should point accusing fingers, because even if those people are not doing the right thing, we have the capacity to then do the right thing.
That's why 4 years is there. 4 years is meant for you to change those people that are not working. In the US, you discover what happened. It's only 4 years that Trump ruled. But in Nigeria, it wouldn't have happened.
Okay, let's move forward.
Okay.
Yeah. So looking at Abia State holistically, from the angle of the enormous human capital and critical resource base available, do you believe the state has made any significant progress or has remained static or even retrogressed, as many analysts have argued forcefully?
I think that your last word, retrogress, because I just mentioned thing about Abia, which is supposed before used to be our commercial knife center. I've been to Umahia, Uzuakwali, Abia Road. It was something you can't phantom. When you look at it, I studied transport. One of the basic attributes of understanding development is your transport system. look at the UK today. UK is more compact. Their roads are narrow, but there's something they activated. Their transport system is one.
You know that was
Everywhere. So, look, it's very, it pained me that within the Umaya here, our rail system has been occupied by vulcanizers. This everywhere is covered. It's something that when you look at it, you say, well, what is wrong with us? The rail system that every country is embracing. Our own now, people have used it as a marketplace. In the same, you can activate it. You don't need, you can have a monorail that can take somebody from Umaya to Ovin, to wherever. You turn back. You have to innovate. We don't innovate.
Yeah, but let's focus on the human capital.
The human capital
in the state. And why is it that we seem not to have tapped this human capital to help us move forward?
Who are the human capital?
But
I came out from Lagos now, that's why I'm talking. If you call somebody in Abia, you may not be able to open up.
Excuse me, you are one of it, because if you look at your pedigree and your profile, so when we are not lacking in people who have the expertise in many areas. So so the issue is that in spite of the seemingly abundance of this human capital, which you belong,
we have.
and many. So why is it that is it still a question of the government or leadership failing to tap into this, or that the people who possess this human resource within themselves have failed to put themselves up for services or things like that?
Let me tell you. Let me give you an example. We have great men. We have great men. You can't list them. We have great men that can take this state. I'm telling you, in the next 4 years, you won't believe it. Because we have money. I've been able to look at the aggregate money we've been garnered right from 1999 up to now. I'm telling you, if you have that money and utilize this country, you could be like an Eldorado. It could be like Dubai of any country. I did a paper, I think 2018, presented in Anambra, Oka, And you know what I did? I tried to segment the states. I segmented the state. You see, Abia State has the best of my segmentation profile. They have what you call comparative advantage in terms of economic, in terms of human resources. But you can have everything. If you don't utilize those ones, you are bound to do what? You're bound to fail.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Listen. You have a transport commissioner here. Have you done an analysis of what was his qualification? What did he read? So he put a square peg in a round hole. What happened? You will get the result that you want.
So what you're saying in essence that we have been harvesting the human resources wrongly.
That is it.
Even when we seem to have made, we put the wrong people in the right places, for wrong reasons.
You said it, because that is the issue. We have great men. Look, when I retired.
So what do you think should be the remedy to enable us harvest the right people for the right purposes?
When I retired, somebody said, "Oh, come, you have to go to Abia State. You have to try. We need you. We did." I said, "Look, I understand." But I did some analysis. I discovered that, look, for me to come here, and I have to have some billions of naira.
Somewhat?
Billions of naira.
Why?
The trajectory, the environment here, everybody is hungry. And that's what I'm looking at. Because hungry is not about whether you're filled, but you see, poverty of mind.
Okay,
because people are not looking at what you're coming to impact collectively. It's first of all talking about...
No, let's get something clear. The man who saw the reputations in you and who was trying to persuade you come to Abia, under what circumstances? Was it trying to lure you into politics or trying to actually come to Abia State and then contribute your own quotas?
No.
Under what?
Lure you into politics. And as I today announced, look, the best thing we need to do first of all is, if there's any way we can do that, through media, whatever, is first of all reorientate the minds of our people to understand that whoever that is coming to put in his own best, it's not coming there based on what is going to garner.
So what you're saying...
collectively, we should start expunging this mentality of self, and that is why we're having problems. The talks in Abia State are all in payroll or political, and I can't do that. Because that money that you're giving to individuals should be used for the collective benefit of every Abian.
Yeah, Dr. Mad,
yeah.
From what all you have said and the paper you presented some time at Oka,
Yeah.
so what would you think the other states in the southeast, our neighboring states, have done correctly that we are failed to do in terms of harvesting? What specifically? Can you tell us one thing you believe? Because we share certain problems in common, with these other states.
Yeah.
But somehow, so what would you think that they've done that we have not done that will help us harvest the right kind of, human capital for the right purposes in other states?
In a nutshell,
go to the next
in a nutshell, I talked about it's having an economic development commission, whereby the 5 states will come together, contribute 3 intelligent people to that. The commission headquarters should be in Enugu.
A kind of synergy.
Synergy. Let them go around and tap from every state, what their potentials are. And I enumerated all the potentials. For instance, I talked about the people that are utilizing it right now. What I wrote was Ebonyi State. They've gone to agriculture. I said we have very great place to. Another people that is Anambra. Anambra now, they've gone to their technology. I said, look, it's time for us to come home. Most of people that are in diaspora come and invest in their
Let me interrupt.
Okay.
You presented that paper under what forum or fora in Oka, specifically for Anambra people. You were invited.
No, I was invited by Odimma Igbo.
Okay.
Were
there, no, I'm asking this question because you said Ebonyi State.
Tapping that.
So where Ebonyi States and the southeastern states were, the southeast.
Yes, it's a conglomerate.
So what you are saying in essence that you didn't go to Ebonyi State or go to Anambra to plead with them, please implement. They saw a good idea and they tapped into it.
Ohaneze tapped it.
And
Ohaneze
now here it appears that in Abia State the leaders were oblivious of, or for one reason or the other they don't intend. But if I may ask, taking a giant step forward, what if you, reconsider sending that paper, on the heels of this discussion to the present administration leadership in Abia State, and let's see what happens. Do you think it's doable?
Why not? It's an open paper.
So
it's an open paper, and I'm happy that Ohaneze took that. And I was called in Lagos too. Ohaneze called me to re-emphasize on that. But I did that. So you see, the issue is that about presenting a paper. One of the things I always say that we don't read.
No, what I mean now, packaging that specifically for the attention of Abia State.
I will do that.
So they would not say that it was a paper that was flown somewhere on the public here. So this time it is addressed to the state governor. So he will not say, this person, my commissioner for information, my commissioner for economics, do this with this, so that they will now study the paper, come up with their own strategies, start from what you have said. Can we do that?
I promise you. I'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll do that.
Okay. Polemics is always ready to help you do that.
Okay. I will give you a copy too, so that you can look at what I did. Abia State would have been the best of models because we have a foundation, Ariaria market, and in Ariaria market we can produce everything. And do you know that we've started exporting? What we need to do is just ensure that environment is okay, even if you put all your resources there. Because what is it that you can tap from taxes, from tourists, from everybody? There's a lot in this state that has not been. When I was looking at the percent, I said we've not used 5% of what we have here. Apart from the human aspect of it, we have great. When I was coming from Ozua College, I looked at all the bushes there. I was saying, look, we can feed the entire southeast. But who is doing that? So everybody is just focusing on money from federal government, money every month. For Christ's sake, in that paper I said, look, 5 states of the southeast, they can survive and be the envy of other zones. It's not about the number, it's about what are you putting in place. We have great things.
Capability.
We have great things. Even there was something that happened recently, which I'm so glad that it may be because of the input I made in that paper, that some guys are coming up to float something like industry of Dubai in Enugu. You know, it's going to be like estate, you know, but it's going to be in the semblance of what you see in Dubai. Our Nigerians, especially Igbos, are great creators. The issue that the people have had in our leadership is what is shifting us.
The environment.
If we have a great leader that these business people can look on and know, yes, you're sincere, because you want to transform the entire Southeast. I'm telling you, the diaspora money could change the entirety, and we don't need to go to Abuja for anything. The Abuja should be coming to us to learn.
Viewers will be back shortly. by making your calls. We are ready to respond accordingly. Thank you, viewers. Dr. Maduka.
Thank you.
One of the indicators or yardsticks for determining or measuring the extent or the rate of progress and the infrastructure development in a state is image of the state capital. Do you think Umuahia, the Abia state capital, deserves to be classified or considered a state capital in reasons of image and prestige associated with state capitals, such as New York, or the rapid transformation recently accomplished in the state.
You know, I wanted to say something before you say, okay, I shouldn't preempt.
Yes, I said,
I was going around, even this morning when we were coming, I decided not to take any transport. I just wanted to have a view about this capital. To me, this is just a glorified local government headquarters. There's nothing to showcase that this is the capital. No lighting in the nights, because we came in here yesterday, no light anywhere. The whole place looks as if it's a dead zone. I said, wow. But my annoyance is that these are leaders that they've traveled out. They've seen places you call capital. They've seen how illuminated that place is. Why can't they replicate? You see, it's even cheaper now. We have this street light, energy street lights. How much is 25,000 naira? Lay one from your tower down to the capital. Make a state, at least let it be illuminated. So that in the night, if I come out at the balcony, I can look at it, wow, this is a city. You see, one of the things you talk about tourism, which we are losing. Tourism is a very...
No, don't go to tourism.
Okay.
Let's focus on infrastructure.
That's it.
Either the deficit...
The road is just one single lane divided. So it's not that's not...
So based on your earlier premise that who is the state and who are the people, who is responsible? Is it the people this time or the people who have elected to be our governors? Because I do know that every year, we have budget. Capital, we have budget for capital development. And the so-called state capital territory, whatever, is captured. 30 years. 30 years down the line. You don't, you come into Umaya, you don't have any sense of imagination that you're in a state capital, because in other states, when you move into a state capital, you know that you have entered a new territory, a new entity. But it's not so. Who is responsible?
Who is to blame?
Yes,
we all have to be blamed.
Okay,
we all have to be blamed because there's a capital expenditure on this particular aspect. Look at how much was budgeted, how much was expended, and then you measure the work. It's not about leadership. Listen, the leadership will always sit down and sit up if they understand the kind of people they are leading. When you have docile people, the leaders take right of it. And that's exactly what's happening. They understand. See, the average Nigerian leader understands our psyche. Our psyche in Nigeria is, okay, look, just leave government, make her eat first. You see, so that docility has created a mental poverty in us. That you cannot ask your leader, this is what you're doing that's wrong. Most of the political psychopaths, I call them psychopaths. You call ACE, advisors, commissioners. They are psychopaths.
Yeah,
because some of them cannot come up and tell the leader, plain point, this we are doing is not right. You know why? Because immediately you say it and they mark you out, they will tell the chief executive, this man is against you. This will become a territorial issue. Yeah, people are no more looking, sorry, I'm coming. People are no more looking at what you say that will impact positively. They are not looking at it as if you want to truncate the leaders' perfume, kind of. But until we have leaders in the government who can once in a while challenge the executive and say, look, I'm not saying this because of me, but I'm saying it because I want you to succeed. I want, when you leave, there could be a history written about you, the legacy you've put in. At least that's the only thing. Are you telling me that, okay, the salaries that are not there, that some people are owed, why should people be owed for months? Why should teachers be owed? Why should nurses? Why? So, why did, okay, now, let's just focus on the But what I'm saying that, the state capital is all about encompassing.
Okay, you mentioned certain elements of groups of people surrounding the governor, maybe sacrifice and who don't have the courage to take. But in other states, the same group of people exist. We have psychophants in Anambra, we have psychophants in Abakaliki, but that has not stopped somebody like Dave Umahi, or somebody like Peter Obi when he was governor, or somebody like Sullivan Chime, to realize that the state capital has to be given some, facelift. So, as a governor or a leader, I don't think that you need to be told by members of your executive to understand that this is your seat of government, and you need some. It's like, I don't.
So let me tell you.
So, but anyway,
let me tell you the truth.
You are as disappointed as many analysts about the status of Umaya and the image of Umaya.
You know why? This man came and did 4 years. We saw what he did in 4 years.
Who?
Let me say, because we don't want to call names.
Okay.
Let's assume all of the governors who have, they all done two years, two times, 8 years. They've done the first one. We looked at what they did. We realized that what they did were wrong. We understand truly that these people messed up the whole thing. They come up again second time, and we still do what? We still voted them. That's why I said people are supposed to have their cut of the blame. If you know that a leader didn't perform in the first term, this second term he should not come back. Because when he come back, it's same thing. So like I gave you an instance, that when you talk somebody is raping you, and you open your legs and shout, you didn't even push that person out, it means you're enjoying the rape. And that is what we're doing. Let's not push this into leadership alone. Leadership is not an enclosure of one person. It is a united idea. I know somebody is going to pilot it, but that person is still human. But there should be an element of whereby we, the people, should be able to tell the leader, look, you are not doing right. But I don't think anybody can say it here in Abia State.
We get to that.
Yeah, nobody.
Okay, what you're saying in essence is that Omar is just state capital in name. Besides name, Abia State has no state capital.
Nothing. It's
a
glorified local government.
And the status that we talk about when you move into a state
nothing.
and you see, because recently Asaba, Uyo, all those state capitals, when you enter there or you pass through, you feel the sense of you are in a state capital. It's okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Thank you. 30 years in existence following its creation on August 27th, 1991, the state government lined up various activities recently and programs and marked the 30th existence of Abia State, so to say. Do you feel any sense of elation or satisfaction or justification for the celebration?
What are they celebrating for? Well, I saw all of them there. I was just laughing. I can't even go in that kind of celebration. Celebrating what? Celebrating inefficiency, celebrating non-development, celebrating filthiness. It's anybody who is there. That's why I'm saying it's the people. When they are there gathered, what do you expect the governor to do? He's happy. But if he has invited some people and said, no, we're not going because there's nothing in place to showcase whatever we're celebrating, people will not go. And he will sit down and now think, why is people rejecting me? Then he will now galvanize inside his mind that, look, there's something I'm doing that I'm supposed to not be doing. But when you see all of them gather, chiefs, I mentioned the categories. They all gather there. At the end of it, who knows what would have gone there? And they all hum and clap. You're clapping for the failure of your state, for the failure of your future generation, and your children suffering. That is what all of them gather. When I look, I was like, there are people that I respect that were there. And I said, wow, is this how we are? So it's not about having human resources like you talk about. You can have the human resources, but how much of those human resources can live on principle and value?
You're talking about ideology now.
That was it. As a principle and value and ideology. If you don't live on that, forget it. And that is why sometimes when they call me on Abia something, it's not that I don't want to be, but I don't want to associate myself with people that don't have principle, value, and ideology. Life is lived on ideology. If you don't live on ideology in life, you're just a vacuum.
Thank you. Yeah. PDP has remained a dominant party in Abia State and has governed the state from 1991 to date. The same party has equally remained dominant in majority of the peer states in the southeast zone. Whereas the other states have apparently progressed relatively under PDP control. Abia State, on the other hand, has remained stunted in the opinion of some members of the public. In this important context, do you think PDP has fooled Abia State or PDP has failed in Abia State?
This is not a party issue. I tend to differ. It's just like I said, what is PDP? Who is PDP? PDP is the people. You see, the problem we have that we bring
the PDP is a platform that has been a party in charge.
I agree.
For, yes,
but
so
who initiate, who executes? Is it the PDP? It's human beings. Forget it's just like you said, it's a platform. A platform is for you to start as a pedestrian, to impact.
No, but let's look at it from this.
I'm coming.
No, let me come. Let's look at it from the other context. Sometimes you see the one party or the other, celebrating what they have achieved and saying this is why we need to come back. This is why we take it to the higher levels. And yes, you must judge, a state
By the party?
I'm not saying it is. It's not casting.
Yeah, I know.
But what does PDP or any party, for instance, have the justification, for instance, in Abia State, if given our current status? So you must, there's something called a scorecard. Even if you go to the National Assembly to represent, you come back and say, this is my scorecard. PDP undeniably has been the party in charge, so to say. So, and we can say, to some extent, even though I imbibe the argument you've been positioning and advancing, is made up of people. But it is a platform that has held power for this length of time. So, and the state seems not to have moved any. So what I'm saying, would we simply say it is the people? What is the role of the party? Why are they contesting elections? Why are they always winning? And putting people in places of authority and the leadership. So look at it from that perspective. Let us leave the other.
I'm looking at it from that perspective.
Okay.
It's just that you didn't want to grab what I'm saying.
Okay, sir.
Rivers State is governed by PDP.
Yes.
What is happening in Rivers?
Tell us.
Rivers is something else.
Okay.
There are a lot of development there. You just talk about Eboy. Forget that the man just defeated out, moved out to core is PDP.
Yes.
Was it PDP that said Omai not to develop? Was it PDP that told Wike not to develop? That's what I'm saying. Emmanuel, he has floated Okowa in Delta. It is not. That's what I'm saying. It is people. It's just a platform. If you have Labour Party here, and that Labour Party is doing well, you commend that person. It's the person you're commending. Just like now, in Nigeria, we don't have independent candidate. If we have independent candidate who comes out in Abia State and is elected, you're not going to say them because he didn't belong in the party. It is the person that matters. In as much I know there's a problem in all the parties, because if you call PDP, you call APC, if you look at it, they are the same. They are recycling themselves. What I'm looking at from what we are discussing, I want people to start reorienting themselves, to start thinking that it's not party, it is individuals that are messing us up. For instance, we've used religion, we use tribal, we're using party. This has always been the problem we have in this country. Until we remove these things and let us see, law say, unveil the men masquerades. You will see that it's not the party, it's individuals.
Okay, let us look at this issue from another dimension.
Okay.
We said on this platform we ask hardwired questions.
Yeah.
PDP will always say that Abia State is a PDP state.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And they will always tell you, that state will govern, other party, will govern this. No, I'm coming. At least that's the claim they make.
Yeah.
They always say that. So if you are to award marks based on this, so the question is, has PDP succeeded in Abia State? If you have somebody as MD of an enterprise, at the end of the year, when when the stakeholders or the stockholders come back, there's an,
Assessment.
Yes, there's an assessment. What's the assessment? Given that PDP has been in this state since 1999, relative to what other states have enjoyed under PDP. So what is your score, mark? What mark would you award to PDP? Has PDP failed in this state, or is it that or fooled Abians completely? Just go straight.
Okay. Now,
so what is your impression?
The assessment.
Yes.
There's nothing to assess on. There's no measurement. There's no variable.
Yes.
Because we talked about it. There's no development. There's no infrastructure. People are not being paid. Their salaries, their gratuities are not paid. So these are the measurable instruments you can use to assess a party. Let me put it that we're not looking at party. I'm not looking at individual.
So you are saying there's a big void.
Exactly. There's nothing to say that this party has made any progress here as far as I'm concerned. You're talking about how many years? 30 years. For Christ's sake, 30 years. We're supposed to be talking about how do we get to the moon. Who can we assemble to start producing our own cars, to start our own ICT technology village. These are the things we are supposed to be thinking about. But of course, as at now, I just mentioned about the other market. You see how people we are carrying their load under a flooded environment. This is a place that we are supposed to reap whatever that is coming as IGR to the state. So, what do you expect?
Realistically, you can't talk about governance or politics in the wider context. For instance, in the U.S., you can't talk about what they've achieved in the absence of the Democratic Party or the Republican.
Yeah.
You come to England, it's either
the Conservatives,
Party, what is the name of
Conservatives?
No, they have Conservatives.
Liberals.
You go to Germany where Angela Merkel was, and so likewise, people who offer themselves for leadership positions will usually ride on a platform, and when you ride on that platform has ideologies. Those platforms have expectations. Those platforms have manifestos which they canvass and ask people to give us. You have votes. So that is the way I'm looking at it.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you. Let me tell you. Let me even give you an answer. Let me even help you
out.
No,
you bring that into the next question
okay.
Because we seem to be talking about party platforms right now.
Okay.
So do you think that an APC or Abia or any other party has stand any chance of becoming the governing party in Abia State, given the widespread disenchantment among the populace on what is generally perceived as the failure of PDP to provide credible leadership in Abia State in the last? In the last 16 years, prior to the inauguration of this present administration in 2015.
I think it's our passenger that said you don't reinforce failure with failure. So if we keep on doing the same thing, we don't expect different results. So that's just it. So when you talk about PDP, Labour, whatever, I'm just looking at it from the angle of the people who is going to vote. Can we, for once, in Abia State, let me just plead, let me use this opportunity to plead with them. Please, can we, for once, please vote people based on what they are going to give to us. Not what they are going to give to you as an individual, but what they are going to give to us collectively. Enough of 30 years of wastage. When you want to vote, somebody is giving you any money, please understand that money that is being given to you is to buy your future, the future of your generation. Let's look beyond party. Let's look at individuals. Yeah, PDP or APC or anything, let them come. But look at the person who is canvassing for your vote and vote according to your mind and how you feel that this person will impact to us collectively. Like you talked about the British law, the British Parliament. Their own is even worse. Once the Prime Minister messed up, they can call for election
on the same spot.
So it's their own is even,
on the same spot.
And that's why I'm telling you, it is the individual. It is that Prime Minister that is the arrowhead.
Yes.
Immediately he messed up, they bring the whole thing down. So it's not even about the party. That's what I'm saying. The individual we elect is very paramount to party. because it is that person that is going to be the eyeball or the focus of all of us as per what stewardship that person is giving to us.
Okay, let's your personal view or individual view on the Abia Charter of Equity. How would you? What's your thought? Share with us.
No, it's very glaring. It's very glaring. I think it's time for Isugwato to come on board.
No, not necessarily. Do you think the Abia Charter of Equity, is something that can help develop the state if you abide by the provisions?
But the forefathers made it open.
Okay.
By the words that formed Abia,
okay.
Except Afibo now that is now in their body. Okay. So I think the other three, they've all Bende has gotten Abba, which is what we're having now. So the other one is so I think it's better so that from there we can have what I call historical perspective. Okay. Let us look at it now. We can now judge. Oh, when Bende was leading, this is how Abba was.
Fed.
When Abba was leading, when Isukwata was leading, this is what happened. So from there we can now be able to have a base to justify our measuring instrument on performance, please, on performance. So it's not on anything. As of today, we've seen 30 years wasted. I think, if I have tried to look at the scenario when I came in, where is that Isukwata within this governance system? I discovered that I didn't see much of Isukwata. Probably. Maybe it's time for us to give them a chance. Let us see. So that even if tomorrow Abba is shouting, okay, we'll give you a chance, and you messed it up. Bende is talking, we'll give you a chance to mess up. But let's just give it, because it is our forefathers' foundational signature.
What is good for the Ghana
should be good for the youth. So let's just give that opportunity. I'm just pleading that Abia should let's give Isukwata this chance.
Okay. Looking at 2023, coming general elections in perspective, what do you consider the prospects of Abia State based on insights and hindsight you have gained from the last 30 years of the existence, which many people have adjudged or considered to be unimpressive or disappointing? What's the way forward? Do you think we'll have to be recycling, going around the same? What trajectory do you think we should move on come 2023 so that maybe things can begin to take the shape it ought to have taken?
It doesn't take years for a state or a country to look into greatness.
Sure.
It takes the people, the will, the zeal, the vision to elect credible leaders. That's how I'm starting. Abia State will have great potentials in terms of human resources, capital, and of course the natural resources. What we need is to have a person that could harness these things for the people, not for political parties. Okay? That is the major problem we have. For future, we have great future in Abia State. I'm telling you, if we have a great leader, in the next 4 years, you will be shocked at what Abia has become. Look at all the money we have. Paris Club, whatever, money that was given to us, a lot of money. If you calculate just this regime, what they've harnessed or what they've had, it could transform the city. You see, and in order not to take this in holistically, the basic attribute of a good leader is, first of all, pick the points of your IGR improvement. Where do you get internal generating revenue? Pick it, mold it, develop it. Then you can now go the other way. But unfortunately here it's like, I don't even see anywhere moving. I didn't see any caterpillar anywhere. I didn't know nothing. So it's like everything is just normal. And people are just working happily.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because of some constraints,
yes.
we're winding up. But let me ask you one important question
before
you give us your closing remarks. And I'm asking this question based on lessons or knowledge I've gained out there. Generally people are disenchanted, dissatisfied, and they complain that in the course of going around to interview people, interact with people, and giving them the opportunity to come forward and speak up, I discovered a lot of people were, afraid. And advancing reasons like, I don't want, when this person was in government, was a leader, maybe I benefited one or two, and for that reason I don't want to rock the boat. And this is, you've always alluded, you have always built your premise, the people. So I want to ask, I didn't persuade you, I just said, come over, and you accepted.
Yeah.
So what made you accept the invitation to come here and speak up? Share your knowledge with us, share your perspectives and hindsight so that we can move the state forward. While others are shying away, yet they are the ones complaining. You don't live in this state.
Yeah,
You're in Lagos. People who are living right here with us refused. For one reason or the other, out there in the open. I said, okay, come, let's talk about the state and see how we can move forward. And people are shying away, but they are, your eardrums will be filled with complaints. So what convinced you? What made you come up for these programs? And then after that, will be your closing remarks.
Okay. I told you something about having principle, having ideology, having value. I'm supposed to have gone yesterday.
Yes.
You come and say, okay, this is what do I do? It's part of my own contribution, my own service to my state. If I could do this thing globally, I've done this thing globally.
Yes.
So this is a part of me to come and talk about. So anybody who is shying away from speaking the truth peddles falsehood. I always say there's no two ways about truth and false. So it's not like, I used to tell people, look, when you talk to me, you say it's diplomatic. Because that's what many people used to tell me. When your writing is always hard, the federal government, this and that, you have to be diplomatic. I say, no, diplomacy is a lie. It's just a painted lie. Truth is truth. Abia State need to wake up, especially the citizens. It's not the state, it's not the name Abia. It is the people that is made up of Abia. And if you don't wake up to talk about your state, the same people that will be dealing with you, and because they know your mental reasoning is nothing but fear. And fear brings mistrust in God. I've always believed, sometimes my wife will say, look, what if you will die? I said, look, it doesn't really matter. Everybody will die one day. It's all about pursuing something you know is truth. And truth will set you free. You see, everywhere I go, I wear boxer. You know why? Because I'm ready to be picked up anytime. I've been picked up anytime anyway. But it doesn't matter. It's in your side, you have, what do you come at this world to? It's a bit. What is your purpose in this earth? Is it how much you get? Or how much impact you can give to people? So that at the end of the time, when you leave, people can say, wow, somebody stood up to talk about us. See, it's only God that have our expiring dates. Nobody. And I always say it, nobody has my right to my life. You can't. Until God says it is. And until we start building this thing, we are talking in the religion or what in the church and whatever. If you don't build it up to believe that God lives and is faith in you that makes you to speak the truth, we will all keep on shouting, complaining, this and that. Complaint has never solved problem.
Yeah. Your closing remarks, Dr. Mark.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for this opportunity. And of course, I am the premier person that came in here today. So,
yes,
so it's an opportunity and I'm honored. And I wished that Abia State will wake up. The Abia State I mean is the citizens, the people. We can wake up today and challenge our leaders. They cannot do you anything. Look, if you are afraid of prison, you're not supposed to leave. I always tell somebody one thing. Let me just close on that. It's a biblical reference.
Yes.
When the women were crying because Christ was going to be crucified,
yes,
you know why they were crying? They are still living in their physical. Yes. But they didn't see the glory that Christ has seen. And that's why he told them, look, cry for yourself. If we don't sit up and make Abia work, nobody can make it work. It is our responsibility as Abians to speak out, speak the truth, damn the consequence. And I know that God has saved everybody, the Savior. Nobody own your life. Stand for the right of your people. Be collective, don't be individualistic. You that is being paid stipend every month from the government to sell the collective will of your people, you are equally part of the leadership failure. You are equally part of Abia's failure. You that is essay, you're collecting on a RAM that's more than your own, and you know that this money that was given is because of the road that's supposed to be constructed in your area, and you collect, you're equally part of its failure. So it is all about us, not only the leader. Everyone who is part of this mess is equally a messy person in the failure of Abia State.
Thank you, Dr. Maduka. We appreciate Dr. Maduka for finding time to be here with us, and that in spite of your very tight schedule, you are supposed to be in Lagos since yesterday, but you considered it necessary to be here to share your wealth of knowledge, insight, and experiences and analysis, and we appreciate that we have having you on this platform. Our viewers, we are glad that you listened. We expect to be with you sometime next time. My name is Shaft, the anchorman and the host of Polemics with Polemics with AF Television. Thank you very much.